Hello, and welcome to the Content with Clout Google Hangout. My name is Susan Crossman, and I am hosting this program with my friend and colleague, Tom Gray. Content with Clout aims to demystify the world of online marketing so you can get your message out, increase web engagement, and ultimately make more money with your online content. You can find out more about Tom and I at contentwithclout.com, and you can get in touch with either of us at Tom or Susan at contentwithclout.com. Today we're very pleased to guest Husam Jandal. He is an international speaker, a digital marketing consultant, and e-commerce and e-business consultant, professor, and he's the author of 2 published books, Digital Gold and Digital Minds. Husam is really well known for cutting-edge content, valuable takeaways, and entertaining audience interaction, all illustrated by real-life examples and solid case studies. People leave his workshops and training sessions with the knowledge and tools to reshape their digital future. Husam's knowledge and experience are backed up by very impressive business acumen. He has skillfully delivered digital marketing and social media programs to help hundreds of companies and thousands of people. Husam's client list includes American Express, Canon, DHL, Fairmont, Thomson Reuters, just to name a few. In addition, Husam has received many international awards, including 2 Excellence Awards from the Web Marketing Association. WMA is like the Oscars of the Internet. And you can find out more about Husam on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/Husam Jandal. And so, Husam, welcome and thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
So, I'm just wondering, we have a lot to get through today. Tom, do you have some questions that you thought we might be able to ask Husam right off the bat? I've been hogging the attention here.
Yeah, well, right off the bat, I'd just like to ask you for your how you define content marketing. What's your favorite go-to definition for content marketing?
So content marketing is really the process and the science of producing quality information for your target audience. Something that your target audience would love to consume, would love to read, would love to watch, would love to hear, whatever the format that you're using to create your content on, or having it delivered via. But what really matters with regards to content marketing is that creating something that your target audience would love to learn more about. It's not a selling strategy. It's more of an educational marketing strategy, and that's my quick definition of content marketing.
So it's really about how do you say it? It's not so much about telling them about you as much as helping them to solve a problem or provide them information that they would find useful or, as you said, valuable, entertaining, or whatever.
That's right.
Good. And with respect to content marketing, now obviously the content is one piece of it, and the marketing is the other. What about digital media, and how does it relate to your content marketing strategy? So, so what are the channels? And we are all familiar with Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and so forth. But speak a little bit about the channels and their importance with respect to a good content marketing strategy.
Sure. So maybe first, if we were to go back in time, 15, 20 years ago, so content marketing have been there since our inception. It's not something new. Even in Egypt, the Pharaohs would use content marketing by writing on the wall, and people will come by and read the stuff that they have there and learn something, obviously. So content marketing has been there for many centuries. Now, with the introduction of digital media, when we talk about Google and we talk about social media and online videos and all of these different channels that are available to us today to deliver our messages via online and via the internet, the amount of reach that we can achieve with regards to our content and having it delivered in the most effective method via online has simply been amplified. Today, the content that you create is not only reaching to your target audience online, but it also gets amplified. So when I receive a useful piece of content from Susan, for example, let's say she put together a new ebook, which I like and enjoyed, and she shared it with me on Facebook. I can simply like it, I can share it, and I can have it going out to more than 2.5 billion people in a matter of seconds. So that's the entire population of the internet who would have access to Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on and so forth. So if you were to think about digital media and using it for content marketing, it's really content marketing on steroids, because you're able to push your message to millions of people in a matter of seconds. And that's how digital media can really help you with regards to your content marketing activities. So something you've asked about, Tom, which is, so what kind of channels that can be used on digital media, for your content marketing initiatives. There are many channels available. The majority of us would be familiar with YouTube, for example, or LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. For image sharing, you talk about Flickr. Email marketing, so that will go through whatever your preferred email platform or email tool. RSS feeds. RSS stands for really simple syndication. It's the technology that allows us to share content between different websites and different online assets that we have on the web. So these are some of the main channels. So mainly talking about web properties such as websites, blogs, social media channels, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, image sharing and video sharing channels like YouTube and Flickr.
Husam, you've been known to be talking before about layers of content marketing. Can you speak a little bit about what you mean by layers?
Sure. So when you create a new piece of content, it goes through a life cycle, or it goes through various levels of sharing and of reach. So usually the first layer when it comes to your content marketing activities on the web would be the layer of web properties that you own. So talking about your blog, you're talking about your Twitter profile, or your LinkedIn profile, or your website. So that's the first layer, which is simply the layer that consists of all of the web properties that you own. If it was social media profiles, or websites, or web pages, or email newsletters, and so on and so forth. That's the first layer. And I call this layer the destination, because this is really where you want to have all of your target audience going to consume the content that you are creating. Now, the second layer is what I like to call it the conversation layer. So this is where you are actually creating funnels to the destination, and that happens usually on social media. So, for example, when you create a new ebook, you will put a link or a post about that ebook on Facebook or on Twitter, and there will be some kind of conversation about the book or about the blog post that you have authored and that you have published on your own web properties. But the actual conversation doesn't happen on your web properties. It happens on the conversation layer, which is mainly social media. And that's a very important layer, because that's where you can get your message, exploding into the cyberspace, reaching almost anyone and everyone you want to reach to. So that is the second layer with regards to your content marketing process. Now, the third layer is what I like to call the location layer. And that layer where you're able to share content with users when they are connected to certain areas. So, for example, let's say if I'm going out there and I'm looking for a review about good restaurants, so I'll go on Google and I'll search for something like restaurants reviews, and then I'll be able to see blog posts and content that's related to my location. Usually, you'll get to see content that's related to the city that you're searching from, or from the neighborhood that you're searching from, and so on and so forth. So these are the three layers of content marketing, talking about digital media. So the first layer is the destination layer, where you have your own web properties. The second layer is the conversation layer, where you have all of the sharing and the commenting and the interactions. And the third layer is the location layer, where you're providing useful content based on the user's location.
So the second layer is really where the second layer is where that kind of whole idea of creating viral content that takes on a life of its own, and you get 2 billion views on YouTube and all that other stuff. How do we? I guess how do we? Is there a difference in, depending upon the layer? Do different layers, or let me put it this way: do different channels carry different weights? And how should, if I'm a small business owner or any sort of business owner, how do I determine where I want to point my message at? Obviously I've got my own presence, but then going out trying to access that second layer, what are the factors that are important in kind of determining what other streams or what other channels I populate or attempt to populate with my content?
Sure. So when you're acting as a marketeer and using digital media to share your content and to push your message out and making sure that people are enjoying it and sharing it and consuming it, before you do any of this stuff, you really need to think as a marketeer. And in any marketing activity, the first thing that you would think about is your target audience. And in order to define your target audience, I always highly recommend for any business owner or any organization of any shape or kind, for them to create what we call personas. Personas are simply fictitious characters representing your target audience. So for example, let's say if you are selling electronic devices. So you will need to identify who will be buying these electronic devices. If you're selling, kitchen electronic devices, then maybe you will be targeting, the mothers, the housewives, or maybe you'll be targeting restaurants or chefs. So you want to create different groups or different fictitious characters or personas that identify the various individuals or the various categories or types of people who you want to reach. Now, once you create these fictitious characters, you will then want to go and do extensive research to understand where these people spend their time online. Simply, you want to fish where the fish are. So if your target audience are spending their time on Facebook, then hey, Facebook be part of your content marketing strategy. But if we're talking about, let's say, kitchenware electronic devices, and you're trying to push that message via LinkedIn, maybe that's not the right location, because your target audience may not be spending time on that channel. So going back to your question, Tom, which is which channel to use in order to push our messages through, it will all be dependent on your target audience. And you need to follow specific steps for you to define your target audience, understand what they're looking for, and understand where they spend their time online. And based on that, you can identify the channels that are suitable for you to syndicate and push your message through.
One thing I really love the idea of Husam, and I know you have mentioned this in the past as being important, is a content calendar. Can you speak a little bit about what that is and how it works for people?
Sure. So when I talk to business owners and senior executives and any leaders from any kind of organization, and when we talk about content marketing, their biggest challenge, their biggest issue is having the time and the structure to create content, to edit it, to plan for it, and then to publish it. And you can imagine, because of the amount of channels available to us today online, And if you were to use all of these channels to deliver your message through, it can be a full-time job. Actually, you may end up hiring a whole team just to do it for you. And at the end, you might not be able to get the result that you desire. And that's why one of the things that I always recommend for people who want to do content marketing is to first create what we call a content calendar. So a content calendar is a useful tool that helps you organize the topics and the thoughts that you want to share and that you want to talk about at a certain period of time. So let's say, right now we are end of October. We're recording this on Halloween Day, by the way.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah.
Trick or treat.
I took my kids to the dentist this morning. They were not impressed.
So
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
so we are in end of October and November and December. We are very close to end of year. So if any of you who are watching this recording, for next year, what you need to do is you need to, put together a calendar for 2014. And then you need to look at all the months and think of all of the activities, all of the happenings that happen during the year, and also think about your products and services. Are they seasonal? Are there certain periods where you need to push certain messages? Do you want to talk about specific topic? Let's say the next Halloween. Do you want to have a special promotion or a special piece of content created for that specific event? And then once you identified all of the thoughts, all of the messages, all of the products that you may want to talk about, and the issues that will be important for your target audience, you can then select where you want them to be placed throughout the year, on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, and on a daily basis. Once you've created this plan, you can then easily go ahead and implement it. When you have a working a calendar that allows you to understand what is it that I need to create every day, it makes it much easier for you and for your brain, to go through this process and create content on a regular basis based on the calendar that you have created. Now, I get also to hear from lots of leaders out there who would say, oh my God, now I need to create content for 10 channels. I need to create a tweet for Twitter, I need to create a blog, I need to create a video. I mean, do I need to think about creating unique content for all of these channels? The answer is absolutely not. Just focus on one idea. Once you have this idea solid, so let's say we're talking about the Halloween event, and you want to talk about how your product can be best used during the Halloween period. So once you've created the idea about what you want to talk about, you can then use that same content and repurpose it for various channels. So let's say if you create a blog post, that one blog post can be cut in pieces and used for 10 tweets. And that same blog post can also be repurposed and reused for a video, vocal version of your blog. So you could, just simply have the blog content ready and talk about the messages that you have captured in your blog. So you don't need to, reinvent the wheel every time you want to talk about the same topic for each different channel. Just make sure that you have the topic clear. You start somewhere. Start with your preferred channel. If it's writing, then maybe it would be a blog. And then you will see how you can repurpose this content for all of the other channels that are available to us today. And again, you will only use the channels that matter to your target audience. If your target audience are not on Facebook, then you don't need to put anything on Facebook, and vice versa for all the other channels.
Thank you.
So, if now if I'm more of a again, like Susan and I, we're more, our work isn't particularly seasonal, and I can see where if you're a retail store or clothing or something like that, that could be very seasonal, or sporting goods, those kinds of things. So how do you change that approach for somebody who's more of a knowledge worker, whose content and their customers aren't particularly tied to a season, or even a tradesman like a roofing contractor, somebody like that in Florida, where it's not really, except for hurricane season, I suppose. Get ready for hurricane season. But how do you change that kind of editorial calendar for that?
What fun!
Yeah, no kidding. So
That's a very good question. So if there are no seasonalities, and hey, let's face it, the majority of the industries, they don't have seasonality. So what you will need to do is to create a list of topics based on your target audience requirements in terms of content that matters to them. So for example, you can think of the top 10 issues that your target audience would have using your product or service. You can think about the top 10 benefits that your target audience need to know about if they end up using your product or service. You may want to think about the top 10 do's or don'ts for your products and services. So it doesn't have to be based on seasons. It can also be based on many other factors that are relevant to your target audience. And really, again, going back to the concept of personas. So once you've created and identified your personas, one of the things that you want to identify is what really matters to your personas, what really matters to your target audience. And then based on that, you can brainstorm topics that matter to each persona. So if you're targeting the housewife mom, then these are the topics that could be relevant to her. If you're targeting the working professional, then these are the topics that you can target for them. So as I said, it's a very good point. It doesn't have to be seasonal. It can be about benefits. It can be about issues related to your products and services. It can be a guide, like a 5-step guide for selecting the right copywriter, for example, or whatever it is that you're offering.
We're starting to run out of time here a little bit, I'm afraid, and I'm wondering, Husam, is there any kind of primary, most important advice that you would like to give people regarding their content and their content marketing? Is there something is really the most important thing that you'd like to share?
Sure. So there are some basic things that you can do today to really amplify your content marketing efforts. And again, content marketing is not rocket science. Whatever you have, you are doing content marketing anyway. So if you know it or not, if you have a website, that means you're doing content marketing. If you have a social profile on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, then you're naturally doing content marketing. Anything that you're doing that involves creating content doesn't have to be regular or continuous. It can be even a one-off thing. That means you are involved in some way or form of content marketing. So some tips for you to really amplify your content marketing efforts. Content that you have created or content that you may want to create. Number one is make sure that you have all of your social media sharing buttons on your website. So if you have a website where you have certain pages, make sure that you add a feature where people can click to share your website on their preferred social media channel. You might have seen this on many of the news portals and famous websites out there. So make sure you add this feature. It's very easy. It's very simple. You just need to get in touch with your webmaster or whoever is maintaining your website and ask them that you want to add a social media sharing buttons on your website. So people can share your content, on Twitter, on Facebook, by email, RSS, whatever they prefer in terms of their sharing channel. So that's one thing that you can do right away. Now the other thing that you can do as well is make sure that you are linking your content from various web properties. Let me give you an example. So if you have a blog post or a blog site, make sure that you're linking to that blog site from your LinkedIn profile and from your Facebook profile and vice versa. If you have a website and you have, Facebook page, you want to make sure that you have your Facebook page linking to your website and vice versa. These are like very simple and easy things to do right away. And the third thing or the third tip that I can share with you today, and it's really easy. It could be, this is the easiest. This is something that you can do right away.
We like easy.
Yeah. So One thing that you can do immediately is go and edit your email signature and add all of the social media and web properties that you own today. Make sure that you add your blog site, make sure that you add your LinkedIn profile, your company page on LinkedIn, your company page on Facebook, and so on and so forth. And if you're working with a team, or if you're part of a larger organization, make sure that you standardize this so all of your team members are using the same signature and that they are sharing your company, social, and web properties as part of their email. Every time they send an email, your clients, your prospects will get to have access to your content via these channels. So these are just 3 quick tips that I would like to leave you with.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sam, it's. I wish we had. I really wish we had more time to spend together. The information has been fantastic. So, as we kind of wrap things up, is there anything going on in your area that you'd like to tell people about? Any events, or how would people get in touch with you if they wanted to do some work with you? And what specifically, how specifically do you work with people? That might be a good thing to cover as well, very quickly.
Sure. I always recommend for anyone who wants to embark on digital media marketing and content marketing on the digital space. I always recommend for them to start by creating a proper and comprehensive digital marketing strategy. Don't jump into tactics. You know, we have been influenced by the Nike motto, which is just do it. Please don't just do it. Think about it first, and make sure that you use expert support in order to help you create the right digital strategy before you start implementing and playing and trying things on social media. And that's really what I do. That's where I spend most of my time. I like to work with our clients on designing their digital marketing strategy, making sure that they have a proper plan that will get them the results that they desire. I'm best reachable on my favorite social media platform, which is LinkedIn. You can simply go and search for my name on Google or on LinkedIn. Type my name, Husam Jandal. You get to find me there. Send me an invite or a message, and I'll be very happy to connect with you.
And Husam is Husam, and Jandal is Jandal, correct?
Jana. Sorry, Jandal. That's right.
Yeah, good. Okay, so if people are looking for you on LinkedIn, that's the name that they can look for.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, thank you, Husam, so much for your gracious comments and information here. We really, really appreciate that you've taken the time to share this with us.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.